So thank you to everyone for coming. I really do appreciate it. I'm Nick Millington. I'm the president of the Permanent Way Institution, but not for much longer because I hand over in July to Peter, and Peter's here. I've got a few slides just to open up with. Bear with me a second. There we are. So I've been the president of the Permanent Way Institution for nearly a year now, and if I'm honest with you, it's gone really, really quick. I wish I'd had longer, but I respect the fact that I've still got the chance in the autumn to do, to visit more of the sections. I've spent quite a lot of time out meeting the sections in person, and I've really enjoyed it. And I just thought I'd reflect on the year. The Permanent Way Institution is a relatively small organisation with a lot of voluntary help and discretionary help. For me, over many years as a track engineer and a railway person, it's always been there, full of friends, full of people who know, where I've taken on new jobs. I could ring somebody up and say, I've got a problem, can you help? And the PWI for me means that. But it is more than that. If you look at what's happened in the last year, and it's a lot of people with a lot of discretionary effort, we've got a decarbonisation committee. We're active in decarbonisation. We've had conferences on electrification and climate change. We've got a diversity and inclusion committee now. We're following the Royal Academy of Engineering framework towards diversity and inclusion. Good stuff. One of my favourite events for the year, you'll see in the photograph there's me in the middle, is we are developing professional engineers via the Engineering Council framework. Technicians, incorporated engineers, chartered engineers, and it's great to be able to hand out those, those certificates to not only permanent way engineers, but also people that work in plant and also electrification. Great stuff. And speaking from my own experience of kind of growing up on the railway, I was never really sure which engineering institution I properly sat in, if I'm honest. Although I chose civils at the time, years ago, the Permanent Way Institution is a home now for railway infrastructure engineering. And you can see we've actually rebranded ourselves. Electrification is firmly in the stable now. If you look at overhead contact systems, third rail contact systems as well, it's great to have the electrification and the community here. Certainly in the last year, I've spoken to lots and lots of maintenance engineers, and we now provide a home to electrification engineers and those that have worked in electrification that weren't really sure, am I a mechanical engineer, am I an electrical engineer, what am I? We have a home for you. It's here. Also, we've launched the diploma, the electrification diploma. We obviously run the track engineering diploma, but we've launched the electrification diploma as well. So we're providing upskilling opportunities for electrification engineers at a time where the industry is going to need a lot of them. If you look at, I'm certainly handing over to Peter as the next president. Peter's knowledge on electrification is going to be the right person in the right place at the right time, and the PWI can influence what we do to accelerate electrification and decelerate cost. Finally, finally, I got put off by my own by my own person here. And finally, the Great British Railways group, they approached the PWI and they asked us to feed into the future of Great Britain's railway. So, if you look at our fellows and our people with lots and lots of experience, we were able to put a very concise set of feedback to the Great British Railways team. So fantastic. So I'm going to move on. We're all here today. It's a safety conference. Those of you who know me and my full-time job, you'll know exactly what I do with the Safety Task Force, I'm sure. The Permanent Way Institution, there's only one type of engineer to be, and that's a safe engineer. Over the years, many of you will have known of or been involved with serious incidents on the railway, and we consciously and sometimes unconsciously take risks. The slide here, Gareth and Spike were killed on the South West Main Line 3 years ago, almost to the day, with an unofficial safe system of work, doing a task on permanent way that wasn't needed, and they didn't get to retirement. They nearly did, but they didn't. And it's just not good enough. We need to be better than that. We need to have, and I'm really pleased about the exhibitors here today and the people that are speaking here today, because historically, we are conditioned unconsciously to carry on taking the risks that we've previously taken. But what I want to show you today is you don't need to. There are other ways to maintain, inspect infrastructure, plan and keep your team safe, provide warnings that have got a lower chance of human failure. It's here now. So why carry on doing the things that we've done in the past if you don't need to? I'm not advocating transferring risk or anything like that. And what you'll see with the presentations today is that you can remotely and reliably inspect infrastructure. You can plan not to take risks. There is technology available now to inspect site from your laptop, to warn your teams, not with a human eyeball, with a proper treadle-activated system, or indeed protect line blockages at the press of an Apple iPhone button. Aidan, sadly, was in the wrong place at the wrong time. A momentary slip lapse. Handed a line block back and walked down the live side of a Vortok fence, possibly due to COVID, social distancing. There were people, it was right at the early days of COVID, and there were a number of track workers inside the fence. And the train come after the line block was handed back in literally a split second. And I'm really pleased that over the last couple of years, we've developed technology, so geofencing technology, that you can wear, and you can, it provides a prompt and a reminder that you need to stay in your safe space. So we've developed technology with supply chain colleagues that will provide that virtual tap on the shoulder, get back. You'll hear about that today as well. Tyler, sadly, was struck and killed patrolling S&C. It was being patrolled weekly, but you can patrol it 2 weekly according to the standards, but we did it weekly for some reason that I'm sure the report, when it comes out, and I know it's due out any day now, we'll elaborate on. But again, with S&C, if you look at what we've done on the Wessex route in the last year, we have moved all of the inspections into safer access. We've developed technology, train-borne technology, to look at S&C in a different way. And we're still trying and innovating. And we don't want to, obviously, transfer risk into the assets. We want to make sure that we can remove the human from the risk and do it confidently, remotely, but recognising that we still will need humans to go into high-risk areas, but we do that in the access that we've got when the trains aren't running. And it was all possible. And that slide there is a kind of proxy for the risk that we take as an industry. 3/4 of those people were killed, so 3 out of 4. And if you look at operational close calls, near misses and the like, going back, the highest risk is working on open railways. Putting people to work consciously in front of trains that move, okay? That is the highest risk. Whether we like it or not, or we think we're always safe, that is where people come more often to grief than others. The other is when people are either consciously or unconsciously in the wrong place. So roughly, and I talk roughly, there are obviously some contributing factors to that. But if you look at the risk here, that slide is so it's about 75-25%. For those of you that plan and put people to work, plan not to take the risk in the first place. Don't put your teams in front of trains that move. And there are ways to, obviously, to protect and warn your teams. Also, be aware. There was a line block irregularity on the North Wales main line last week, and I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts of the investigation. Upline versus downline, adjacent, one line blocked, adjacent line open. Am I on the up or am I on the down? Toss a coin. That's the up. It was, by the way, the coin came down the wrong way. The person went in the wrong way. That was another Aidan, literally, and by a split second it didn't happen. And that's how we make those decisions, slip lapse type decisions, and not putting that groundwork in to keep our teams safe. So, geospatial awareness, keep your teams out of the way of moving trains, you'll probably be all right. So, presenters today, exhibitors today, this slide here, never mind me being on the roof of Bristol Temple Mead Station, this is near miss frequency over time. This is what you can do if you focus on it. We've got to be really careful not to transfer risk. It's really important that we don't do that. But what you can do when you focus on it is you can plan not to put people in front of moving trains, and you can plan to protect and warn them in a more effective manner. We've got a lot of upskilling to do with track worker safety competencies, and that'll be the kind of next era of the safety task force. But if you look at, there are a number of people in the room here today, there are a number of exhibitors that have contributed with warning systems, that have contributed with better planning systems, protection equipment, warning equipment, remote sensing equipment, all those sorts of things. And what we can then do is keep people out of harm's way. And simply put, and it is simply put as well, if you remove people from moving trains, your near-miss frequency gets better. And this is what this shows here. The blue line, when the Safety Task Force started, and it only started because we killed Gareth and Spike. If you look at safe and effective working on London North Eastern route, which is a precursor to the task force, it only started because John Wright was killed at Newark. So we've got a habit of only doing things when we kill people, and that's not good enough. We can be better than that, and we need to be better. So the near-miss frequency, if you have a look, the blue line is the moving annual average of near misses. We are having about 65 near misses a year, about 160 people that almost didn't go home every year. And what we've been able to do is and that had plateaued for a number of years. It'd come down from a higher point previously, but we've been able to reduce that risk. We haven't got rid of it, by the way. So because we've moved people into line blockages doesn't mean to say they're 100% safe. You've still got to be conscious you're in the right place, protect yourself, and all those sorts of good things. And also, if you look at the bottom line, that is near-miss frequency rate. So if you look at, we started, and I love numbers for those of you who know me, we started at about 900,000 hours worked between near-miss events, and we're now up over 3 million hours worked between near-miss events. They still happen. The risk is still there, so we shouldn't be complacent. But I guess what I'm showing you there, with effort and conscious planning, intervention, use of technology, keeping your people out of harm's way, you will get them home safe. More likely to, okay? Right. I'm now going to hand over. For those of you, sorry, don't do questions now. We're going to do questions at the break. For those of you that want to know more about the Safety Task Force, I quite often put blogs on LinkedIn and things like that. So by all means, follow me on LinkedIn if that is your social media portal of choice. Right.